Hi, today we will show you how to breed mealworms. This is an educational video from farm Insecto.cz prepared by Jirka Bartoš. Our parental system consists of two parts that lie on top of each other. The lower part is a simple lid with a raised edge, and the upper part is a container whose bottom is replaced by a wire mesh. When establishing a new system, simply place both parts on top of each other and pour an adequate layer of substrate inside. Its primary purpose here is not to feed the beetles, but to provide them with suitable environment for laying eggs. The substrate will fall through the sieve and stay separated from beetles. And that's the first important task of the parental system, to prevent beetle cannibalism on their own eggs. The beetles will lay eggs through the sieve into the substrate while remaining separated from them. So the hotel is ready, we can let the guests in. I have about a liter of freshly hatched beetles ready to establish a new colony. The minimum number of maintaining sufficient genetic variability in breeding is about 500 beetles, but of course we can place several times more of them in such container. Beetles have the same diet as larvae, although they consume only a fraction compared to them. We can add pieces of old bread, hydrate best by adding chopped carrots or potatoes. I do not recommend giving anything that could rot and stick to the bottom, such as cucumbers or tomatoes, as mold could damage eggs. The parental system must therefore ventilate well. Once we're done, all that's left is to wait. After several days, it's time for harvesting. The optimal frequency for harvesting is every 2 or 3 days, maximum a week. Less frequent harvesting immediately reduces the efficiency of the process for several reasons. Here we can see that the beetles are doing really well and they have enough food. The second task of the parental system is to make harvesting as easy as possible. And as we can see now, it's really well designed. We lift the box with beetles and simply transfer the substrate with laid eggs from the bottom part into the breeding box, where after a weeks it will start teeming with a new generation of larvae. We do not need to sieve or sort the beetles as in the other systems, they simply remain where they are. If we check the substrate, we might come across small clumps. These are clusters of tens, perhaps hundreds, of eggs stuck together. Do not try to break them apart, as they would destroy the eggs. If we don't change the substrate for a long time, there might be too many eggs in the substrate and these clumps will form a continuous hard layer. This, of course, damages the efficiency of the process, as the hatched larvae are really tiny and not all can manage to break through the hard layer. Easy solution: change the substrate more frequently. The next steps are the same as when establishing the parental system. We add substrate, again making sure there's a sufficient amount of it. The beetles have an ovipositor several millimeters long. To ensure that the eggs are not stuck at the bottom of the lower box, the substrate must have at least a half centimeter layer. Eggs stuck to the bottom, unfortunately, cannot be removed without destroying them, and if we do not do so, we will later have larvae in one box of significantly different sizes, which we don't want. Once we've replenished the bread and enough food for hydration for a few days, we're done. We can have a look now how our harvested eggs look like after a few weeks from harvesting. At the first glance, we won't see any larvae, but the evidence of their presence is there: rust-colored exoskeletons. The larvae themselves are barely observable to the naked eye, but movement in the substrate is visible. A new generation is here.